the Python exception handling. Clear? So any idea what is exception handling? Any idea?
Yes, sir.
What is this?
Sir, if we want to not give an error in our programs, so we can accept that error, and instead of that error, we can print anything we want to.
Okay. I think when I was on leave for one day, I think 7th January, then Namneet has taken your class, huh? So Namneet discussed this thing. Okay, so I will discuss in detail. See, I'm just giving you the one example here. Okay. See, suppose I am writing here A is equals to 10 and B is equals to int input. Okay. And C is equals to A divided by B. Now what will happen? What will happen? User need to enter B. Okay. And if suppose you enter B is equals to 0, then what will happen?
Sir, it will give zero division error.
Yes. Okay. So for these types of problem, and again we can have one more example. Suppose you are trying to open a file in the read mode, but that file doesn't exist in your system. Clear? For these kind of problems, we are discussing the Python exception handling. Clear? So as the name suggests, this error is caused by the wrong syntax. So first type of error is called the syntax error. Okay. So this is due to the wrong syntax in the code. Clear? So what is the wrong syntax? Anyone? Suppose in this example, just can you anyone identify where is the wrong syntax? This
Sir,
example. Yes. What is the problem with this program? This one? No idea. Okay, see the
इसके बाद कॉलन नहीं है.
yes, this one is the syntax error. Syntax error. Clear. So this is the one example. Clear. This is the one example. Now second is the exception. Okay. So first was the syntax error. Now exception. So exceptions are raised when program is synthetically correct. Program is synthetically correct, but the code resulted in an error. Syntax is fine, no problem. But the result you are having an error. This error does not stop the execution of the program. However, it changes the normal flow. Okay. Now in this example, in this example, where is the problem? DEF average marks bracket marks colon return sum of marks divided by length of marks. Okay, this is fine. You are writing mark 1 list and you are printing average marks comma this function you are calling. Now where is the problem in this program?
sir, list in the list, it is empty list.
Yes, it is an empty list. Then what will happen? What will happen when you
Sir,
call this?
so it
Yeah.
cannot take the length of an empty list.
We can take the length of the empty list, but it will give you 0. So again, it is a division by 0, something divided by 0. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is exception. Okay. So now see, this is the flow chart that Python follow. Clear? Now there is one more thing that is called assert. I can show you the assert in the, but for that I need to start my O12. Okay, I will show you, just a minute. Give me 1 minute. In the program, we can use assert n number of times. So I will show you how assert help me to write a big code. Just a minute. Okay, my screen I think is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so sorry. Can you see this assert is here? How many times I have assert? So I have 9 times asserted my program. Okay. So we are discussing this. This is very important whenever you are writing code for larger program for some special purpose. Okay, so okay, just a minute. Okay, so this, yeah. So we are discussing assert statement. Okay. So what does assert statement do? See, we are having some code. Okay. Uh, some code is there. Okay, this code is there. Here you are having some assert statement, assert, assert condition. Okay. Now this assert condition, if this assert condition is true, if this assert condition is true, then the rest of the program will continue. Program continue to run. If this assert condition is false, the assertion stop the program and gives assertion error. Clear? So understand what is assertion? You are having your code, and in the code in between anywhere you have written some condition. You have written some condition, assert condition. Okay? So if this assert condition is true, if this assert condition is true, your program will continue to run. If this assert condition is false, assertion stop the program and give some assertion error. Clear? I will show you the example, but this graph, this figure is clear to you? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So assertion are simply the Boolean expression, that check if the condition returned true or not. If the condition returned true or not. So in the previous program, the same program I have written, but I have just added one condition here. Different languages have different syntax for assertion. Okay. So for Python, this is the syntax. For the program that I show you, that is for C++ language. Okay. So I have written assert length bracket marks does not equals to 0. Clear. So now you are calling this function average marks with this empty list. So it will go there. Okay. And this length of marks will be 0. So this condition is true or false? This condition is false. Clear? So it will not run this section of code. Return sum of marks divided by length of marks. It will not run. Clear? So it will give you assertion error instead of giving you the division by zero error. Okay. So I will show you in the Python notebook. Just a minute. Okay, so first one error, simply error if condition. Second exception, which exception? Division by zero, zero division error. Okay. Next is we used assertion here. Okay. Now see. So now instead of in the same code, instead of having the zero division error, we are having this assertion error. Okay, that some condition doesn't matching, so this error is arised. Clear? It is clear what is assertion here? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can have assertion error with some message as well. See, now we are using assertion error with some message. Okay. So the same code is there, and this time we are using two lists. First list is this, and the second list is this. First list is not empty, and the second list is empty. So whenever we are calling this mark 1 here, clear? So it will check assert length of marks does not equals to 0. Yes, it is not equals to 0. So then the code will continue to follow. The code will continue to run. Clear? So next statement is return sum of marks divided by length of marks will be executed. So the sum of marks divided by length is 5. So you are having this output 78. Clear? Now next is whenever we call this mark2 empty, whenever we call this one, so this statement length of mark does not equals to 0, it is false. So this time we are also printing some message. List is empty, suppose. So it will give you assertion error and this message. List is empty. Clear? So you can see the here as well. The same code I have written here. So the output for this highlighted one is this one. Average of marks is 78.0. Next, when we will call this one, this assertion error and this message. Assertion error and list is empty. Clear? Yes or no? Hello?
Sir, can you show it again?
Okay. This one?
Yes, sir.
See. So when we are calling this, when we are calling the function using this list, so we are having this output average 78. Clear? When we are calling the same function with this empty list, we are having what this assertion error, and what will be the message? List is empty. Okay. In the previous one, previous में क्या था? We just having the assertion error, not an there were no message. कोई message नहीं था, but this time we are printing the message as well. Clear है?
Sir, for the same you have written it for the if statement.
Yes, that's why I was expecting. No one asked me this thing. So the same thing we can do with the if else condition as well. But if else के लिए what we need to do? We need to write the whole code inside the if. And got my point? If
Yes,
the
sir.
same thing you want to do using the if else, what we need to do? We need to just write this. If length of marks does not equals to 0, we need to write this. Okay. So we were having first one it is 78 and for second one it is nothing, none. Okay. So if condition is not true, so this statement will not execute. So it will not give any error, but it will not give any error, and since it is not returning anything, so it will return none. So here you are having none value. So this is the difference you can see here. In if you are using the if else condition, then it will not raise error. It will not execute your code if the condition is false, but also it will not raise any error.
Yes.
Clear? Okay. So this is clear. So any doubt till now? Any question? Oh, sorry, this is not for you. Just a minute. Yeah. Okay. So now the next is the try and accept statement. Okay. So these are used for catching exception. Okay. So the try and accept statements are used to catch and handle exceptions in Python. Not only in Python, in C++ also. ठीक है मतलब that means in other programming as well. So try and accept statements are used to catch handle exceptions. A statement that can raise exceptions. Okay? So the statement that you are thinking that they can raise exception, we can keep them inside the try clause. We can keep them inside the try clause. And the statement that handle the exceptions are written inside the accept clause. So there are two things, try and accept. Okay, so we will write our code here inside the try clause. Okay, so we thought that some statements are raising exceptions, so we will write that section of code in the try clause. Clear? So the example here, yeah. So the see, I have taken the same example. Okay, so see, the same example I have taken. Okay. Now see what is the difference between the previous one and this one. What is the difference? I have one more example here. Yeah, one more. So just tell me this one or just look at this. See, so what we are doing here, these two things are same. These two things are the same here. Okay. Now in this the function we are writing this function in the try clause, and exception we are writing here except. Okay, so I am running this section of code here. Okay, so for this one, there is no error, so it will give you the average 78. Clear? Now when you call this one, this section of code will raise an zero division error. zero division error. So this is a giving an error. So we are having this zero division error here. So just let me know this one is correct or this one is correct. This section of code is correct. Which one is correct? The two code I have written here for the same purpose. This one is correct or this one is correct. Hello.
Sir, above one is correct.
Our one is correct. Okay, why?
Sir, because the code is written inside the try clause.
Okay. So see, uh, you are calling that function when you are calling this function only in that case it is raising some error or exception.
Yes, sir.
So first when you call that the same function with an a list that is not empty, then it is not raising any error. But when you call the same function with some other data point, it is giving the error. So the problem with the function or the problem with the data point? The problem was with the data point. See, in both the cases, you have the same thing. That means for the first, it will give you the average, and for the second, it will give you the error. But the correct one is the first one or the second one. The error is due to the data. That means the list that you have taken. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this one should be the correct way. This one. When you are calling this function, you need to write catch statement. Okay. Sorry, try and catch. Try just whenever you are calling this function. Okay. In the try block, except an error occurred. Okay. The same section of code for the empty list. Whenever you are calling this function, just write in the try clause, or for error, write in the except clause. Clear? So this is an example for exceptional handling. Okay. Any question till now? Just have a 2-minute break and ask your doubts. No question? Okay. If there is no question, then I have one question for you. Okay. Okay. So see, we are having import module sys. So the import module sys, this import module sys. Okay. This module is used to get type of exception. This module is used to get the type of exception. Okay. So this time we will catch the type of exception as well. Clear? So see what we are using here. If it is too clumsy, I can add here one enter. Okay, now it is fine. Okay. So see in the code what we are using import sys. What is the purpose of this? The purpose of this to get the type of exception. Okay. So in this try clause, what we are doing here, uh, we are writing here for L is equals to 0 a 0 2. So L is a list which is having an character a and two integers 0 and 2. Okay. For entry in L. So that means entry will be A, then entry will be 0, then entry will be 2. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Entry will be A, then entry will be 0, then entry will be 2. You can write anything here. You can write A, I, J, K. Clear? So L is equals to A02 for entry in L. Try print entry is. So you are just printing them. You are just printing. Okay? So output. So you are just printing. So output will be A. Am I right? Yes or no? After that, you are calculating this R. What does R means? R is equals to 1 upon int entry. So 1 upon integer of A. What will happen in this case?
Sir, it will give type error.
Okay. So after that, you are just writing break. After that, you are just writing break. Then accept. This is a message and you are writing sys dot exe underscore info occurred. So this will tell you the error. This will tell you the error. Okay. So see here. So the entry is a oops. The class value error occurred. The class value error occurred and then this statement and next entry and so. Clear? Okay. So what does it means? If you are trying to convert a character into an integer, it will give you the error class value error. This is fine. Okay. Now next time this entry will become 0. Entry will become 0. Okay, fine. So this the entry is 0. Okay. Now next time you are having R is equals to 1 upon 0. R is equals to 1 upon 0. So you are having 1 upon 0. So which error is occurred? Class 0 division error occurred. Class 0 division error occurred. Clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next time the entry will become 2. Entry will become 2. So it is 1 upon 2. So 1 upon 2, there is no problem with this code. Okay. So you are having this. The reciprocal is uh, the whatever the reciprocal of 2 is 1 upon 2. That means 0.5. So you are having this output. Okay. Clear? So this is just an example here to use SYS module to get type of exception. Clear? This is clear? Okay, if this is clear, then the same I have written here as well. So this is the code in the Jupyter notebook. Clear? Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Just a change here. Now, why others entry are not there? I have just changed one thing. L is equals to 3 comma a then 0 then 2 and I am having reciprocal of 3 is 0.3333. It doesn't check a, doesn't check 0. Why?
Sir, because of break statement.
Yeah, because of break statement, because once this is executed, it will go to the next statement. Okay, in the previous case we were having a, so thus the statement is giving the error, so instead of going to the break it was going to the accept. Good. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is clear. Okay, yeah. Now since every exception in Python inherit, now one thing is that we have already studied inheritance. Okay, we already studied inheritance. So every exception in Python inherit from base exception class. So there is already inbuilt exception class is there. Exception class is there. Okay. So all the exception is inherited from the base exception class. Do you remember the inheritance? Yes or no? We used class A,
Yes.
and then we use class B bracket class. Do you remember? So in the Python, all the exceptions are inherits from the base class exception. So there is a class that is called exception, EXCEP, exception class is there. Clear? So we can also perform the above task. So we can use instead of using that one, we can also use this. See, the same section of code I have written, the same section of code, but this time we are using this uh, exception this one. And most of the time whenever you search anything related to exception handling, you will find these type of code, except space exception as something. Okay. So the same code I have written, import sys l is equals to a02 for entry in l, try. Okay, print entries are equals to 1 upon this. Now this time I am writing what? Accept exception as E. Accept exception as E, and then E underscore underscore class underscore underscore. So this will tell you the error now. This will tell you the error. So see, in both the cases we are having the same error, class 0 value error, 0 division, and here also we are having class value error, class 0 division error. The same error we are having, but the way is different to catch these exceptions. So for in the first case, in the previous program, we use sys module, but this time we are using exception base class. Okay, and most of the code you will find these this one, the second one that I am showing you. Okay, so accept space exception as E, so E as E just a name. Okay, so main thing is the exception that I have written, that is base class. Clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sir, can
Yeah.
you explain it again?
Yeah, see, पहले तो first I will explain this. See, ये clear है? sys dot exe underscore info return current exception information that I used in the previous program. Okay, that we used in the previous program. Now this time we are using exception base class, exception base class, and in Python all the exceptions are inherit from the base exception class. All the exceptions are inherit from the exception class. Okay. So this time in the previous one we just use accept, and we use sys dot exe underscore info. Okay. This time we are using exception. We are using exception class. Okay, this exception class. So accept exception as E, and then e dot underscore underscore class underscore underscore. So this will tell you the class of the exception. Okay. So what is the class of this exception? The class of this exception is the value error. Clear? Okay, this is clear. Hello.
Yes, sir.
देखो exception, it is written the exception common base class for all non-exit exceptions. Okay. And what are the subclasses are there? Type error, stop as stop a sequence iteration, stop iteration, import error, OS error, end of file, name error, attribute error. A lot of are there. They have displayed only some of them. And which were we were receiving? We were having value error and the zero division error. So this might be here. Clear? Hello.
Yes.
ठीक है. So what I'm trying to say, all the exceptions in the Python inherit from the exception base class. Okay. So the zero value error is also inherit from the exception class. Zero division error is also inherit from the exception class. So this is exception class here that is already in the Python. We are not going to create. And whatever error, whatever exceptions are arriving in our program, they are all inherit from the exception base class. So we have two ways. First one, either you can use the SYS module, the previous program, or the second one is we can use the exception. Clear? So most of the program you will find on the book or on the internet, they will use the second way that I have. So clear? Okay. Okay, now if this is clear, just we can have a 1 or 2 minute break and you can ask your doubt. Otherwise, we will move forward. That's why we discussed inheritance before this exceptional handling. If this is clear, then we can move further. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So the next is the catching specific exceptions in Python. And then we will use multiple exceptions together. In the except clause, if you notice, in the except clause, if you notice, we did not mention any specific exceptions. Okay, we are just taking the exceptions from the exceptions base class and we didn't mention any. Okay. So in the above examples, if we notice, we did not mention any specific exceptions because we do not know. So we didn't mention any specific exceptions. Sometimes in the program, it happened that if a particular type of exception is happening, then you need to do something. If some other particular kind of exception is handling, then you want to do something else. So that's why sometimes we need to mention the except specific exceptions as well in the except clause. Okay. Whenever you are doing a large project, then it happens for a particular kind of exceptions, you need a particular section of things to do. For a particular kind of exceptions, you need a particular section of things to do. So next we will going to learn that how we will mention a specific exceptions in the except clause. Okay. And then we will use multiple exceptions together. Okay. So suppose the two exceptions, any one of two exceptions are occurring, then we are doing these things. Otherwise, we are doing this thing like this. Okay. So in the above example, if you notice, we did not mention any specific exceptions in the except clause. We did not mention. Okay. So that means it will catch all exceptions and handle every case in the same way. Okay. So if you want to handle every case in the different way, then we can mention our own exceptions. So we can specify which exceptions an except clause should catch. So next time we are dealing with this, we can specify which exceptions an except clause should catch. So if there is a division zero error, then okay, then you can continue, otherwise not, like this. And a try clause can have any number of except clause. So in the previous program, we used only one except clause. Yes, we used only one except clause. But keep in mind, a try clause can have any number of except clause to handle different exceptions. So if you remember the program that I gave you, L is equals to A 0 and 2. How many error, how many exceptions were there? For this case, we were having different exceptions. For this case, we were having different exceptions. Yes or no? And we collected all of them using the S by S module or using the exception class. Clear? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So now next thing what we can do, we can have any number of except clause. So not only single except clause for a try clause, so like this, we can have try some section of code, except some section of code, except some section of code, except. Or here we also mention a specific exception as well. If this exception is occurring, then this section of code. If this exception is occurring, this section, like this. Okay, so we can use a tuple of values. Next thing is, if we want to specify multiple exceptions, suppose you are having this except, and here you want to specify multiple exceptions. Not only one. If you want to specify multiple exceptions, you can use a tuple and you can write each exceptions here. So here suppose you can write first exception, you can write the second exception. If you are having three exceptions in a single clause, we can write third one as well. So we can use a tuple to specify multiple exceptions in a single except clause. Okay, so either we can use multiple except clause for a single try, or we can have a tuple. In that tuple, we can have multiple exceptions with a single except clause. Okay, so understood what is the goal? First, the goal is to specify exceptions. Okay, we can specify a particular exceptions. Then we are discussing we can have any number of except clause for a particular try. Okay, and we can have multiple exceptions in a uh, single exception. Okay, so a tuple of value is used to specify multiple exception in a except clause. Okay, if this is clear, then this is the example. See here. Okay, see, we are having only one try. Yes or no? Only one try. And how many except clause are there? First accept clause is there, second accept clause is there, this is third accept clause is there. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Clear? So we are having only one try clause. It is just a pseudocode, not exactly program. So you are having a single try clause, but with this single try clause, you are having three accept clause. First one, second one, and third one. In the first one, I am catching what? Value error. I am catching value error. In the third one, nothing is there, so I am handling all other exceptions. All other exceptions in the third one. In the second one, instead of a particular exception, we are having two exceptions: type error and zero division error. So this is called multiple specific exceptions. multiple exceptions, and these are specific, type error and the zero division error. Clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that what we discussed, a try clause can have more than one except clause. First thing, okay, we can specify our exceptions. We can specify our exceptions if this exception is there. If suppose this code is having some problem with the value error, then this one. If this code is having some error with the type error or division error, this code. Other all other exceptions, this. Okay, and also we can specify multiple exceptions, not only single. We can specify multiple exceptions, and we can write all of them in a tuple of values. Clear? Okay, if this one is clear, then I have a program, and see in this program, just notice what we are doing here. We are just writing string equals to input, string equals to input. Okay, so suppose you have given input anything. Suppose you have given input your name, like Dev, you have given your name. Okay, now in the try clause, what I am doing here, I am writing num is equals to integer input. Okay, so here you are taking some input. So what input I can take? I can take anything here. Suppose you have taken here 85 integer. Okay, you are just writing this one, Dev plus 85. What will happen? What will happen? This is a string here. This is a string here, and this is a integer here. Can we concatenate them? If you remember the string concatenation, we can concatenate two strings. We cannot concatenate a string and integer.
Sir, it will give an type error.
So it is giving you the type. Actually, can't remember actually. So we have a table where I have written different kinds of errors. We can remember some particular kinds of error, but in Python, I think the error may be more than hundreds. Okay. So I have I am not having good habit to remember. So, but we need to remember, obviously we need to remember some of them. So this one is giving the type error, can concatenate, can only concatenate a string, not integer to a string. Okay. Now in the same code, I have having different inputs. Okay. Now this one is clear. This is clear. Yes or no? If this is clear, then next time I am having the same inputs. I am having the same inputs, Rohit, and for this, what I need, what I supposed to input? Num equals to integer bracket input. What I supposed to input? Hello?
Yes, sir. Can you ask the question again?
Num equals to integer bracket input. What I supposed to input? Some integer.
Sir, yes, sir.
Now, but this time instead of integer, I am inputting this string. So where will be the error? Error will be in this statement or in this print statement. Print statement, it will
It,
go to the print statement or not?
no, sir. It will go to the accept.
Yeah, because error is where we need to input a string. Sorry, we need to input integer and we are inputting a string. So it will give you value error. Invalid literals for int with base 10 approval. Okay. So in the accept clause, we are specifying two error, type error and value error as E, and print type of them and this. So I'm printing their type as well, their type and this. Clear? So I will show you this example here. So this was the example. Okay, so पहले क्या enter करना था Dev and then anything. So the error was this type error. We cannot concatenate a string and integers. Okay? The next time we are entering Dev and Adbit. So the error with the value error. This statement. Invalid literal for int with base 10. Clear? Okay, if this is clear, then we will discuss the rest of the things in the next class. Okay, anything you want to ask?
No,
Hello?
sir.